G'day everyone, I'm Dave and thank you for joining me. Well, it's been a little while since I've done a video. I'm running a bit behind. I've been doing a lot of development work and I've had lots of meetings with people as the AI world is really starting to hop up and heat up, yes. Anyway, things are becoming interesting because people are now realizing that AI is more than just ChatGPT and they need to apply it to their business. So they need to find practical solutions of how they're going to do this. The video today steps you through my solution. Now, those who've watched the channel before know my background and can follow all my videos from the conception of my idea right up to the implementation of my idea. Just as summary, as we know, the world has changed massively. We need to understand AI and how we can implement that into our businesses. I have come up with a solution that I will hopefully illustrate the power of what you can do with AI across the board for your business and combined it into one final product that gives you full control over what goes on. Now, there's been some big developments recently with AI models, and we are really getting to the point where the days of the hallucinations and everything are pinned down. You can really control what's going on now. So a lot of people have very bad ideas. You know, they ask a question to OpenAI and you get some weird question. There is a reason behind that. They've actually just written a paper. OpenAI have just released a paper, and basically to give you the summary of why LLMs hallucinate and how they're getting rid of this problem now. When the LLMs are trained, they're basically trained and then there's some after training. Okay, so they have the main training and then they have some after training. Now what they found is basically this. You ask the LLM a question, what is 1 plus 3? There's obviously an answer for that. 1 plus 3 is 4, right? So we can get a tick to say, yep, this is correct. But if you ask it a more subjective answer, there is no right or wrong. So what happens is, imagine you're doing a multiple choice test, right? You've got A, B, C, and D. What is the old adage? If in doubt, go C, but not using that. So in a multiple choice question, you've got a 1 in 25% chance of getting it right, even if you guess, right? In effect, that's what the AI was doing because it wasn't being rewarded for not answering. So if it didn't know, it was better for it to take a guess and get a 1 in 25 chance. Whereas now they've realized that they can now, after the initial training of the model, there are ways to put this in place where instead of the training giving them a nod saying, no, we don't like no answers, we need to have an answer. And the AI, like a human, I better make an answer up, I better take a guess. It's trained on human conversation. This is why you need to own the conversation. The AI is just like trained on the way humans think, the way that they actually communicate. So all of these issues went through the model. Now, obviously, when you're doing a compute and you ask it a question, should I cut the red wire? Will the bomb explode? You don't want it to hallucinate, right? So this is why now these hallucinations in business are virtually non-existent. Now, even in the model I'm doing now, you can eliminate a lot because there's different levels of where the command line goes with the instructions to your AI. And what I've done with this model is I've used an agentic framework where we're actually using AI at many, many points to cross-check, double-check before things are printed out. This is the power of buying intelligence. So I'm going to tell you a story, and the story is about a rug company. I'm going to start the story and I'm going to explain it to you as if you were the rug company, as if you were the audience of the rug company. Now, this rug company has been going a long time, 40 years that I know of. And they are in business and they have been in business for a long time, and they approach me because they want to be part of this new AI, of how they can actually use AI for their daily business, okay? So this is the product that I've developed, and this can be an instruction manual for want of a better word. So you can understand the entire process. So we'll go down here and we'll have a look and we'll see what goes on. So we shall start at the beginning. All right, so we go down here, we can see this is the rug company, Deportier Fine Carpets and Rugs, and they sell fine carpets and rugs, oddly enough. So I'll put myself over here a little bit out of the way. So we can see the way, like any traditional website, someone is interested in purchasing a rug. So they will do a Google search or whatever way they do it. They do find your website, then they search through the website and they try and find the information on whatever the rug happens to be, what it does, what it doesn't do. Let's look on this one there. This is, let's see, lobster looking thing. Okay, it's got some information. It's got some other close-up images. Okay, That's all pretty good. That covers it pretty well. But it's still proactive. You need to go and find the information. So what we've done, they've got two sites. They've got the Deportier site here, and they've also got a shop site here. Now we can see that the shop site has got a nice little pop-up. Now, what I suggested to them was get rid of this pop-up and use an AI assistant and use it on both sites. But you also need to be able to own the conversation. So what we basically did is we started a new project. So the new project I will show you now. This was their existing project, which we still use, the site's still running. And this project, this website, and this website will have a separate AI assistant, completely built separately, to the other AI, what could we call it? The master site that is all about general information about rugs that refers back to this Deportier site. Okay, so that's the grounding and where that sits. The main site, you can imagine, these guys sell rugs. So the main site that I've set up, I'll try and put me out of the way here somewhere, is Decorated Rugs Online. Now, when you come to Decorated Rugs Online, we have an AI assistant. So I'll just refresh the page here. And that AI assistant is Kate. And we can see here when we go to the site that Kate will basically appear, and Kate will say, "Hi, I'm Kate, and you can ask me any question, speak into the microphone if you like." And we can see there's some images of rugs. Now, this is great because if we go back and we look at the way the rugs were presented, okay, we've got the stock standard shopping cart site, flat image of a rug. That's okay, it gets the point across. Same with these ones, it gets the point across. But in reality, a rug, I believe, and this can go with any product, but this particular product is like a fashion item as well. So what we've done with AI, we've used the technology and we've constructed a in situ of each of the rugs in their range. So this does two things. One, this site has all questions about rugs, hundreds and hundreds of questions about rugs. This site, the idea is it is informative to people. So we can look at the questions and answers here. It features all the rugs, all the questions. These tags are all optimized for search engines now, but as we know, it's all about what's in the future, what the LLMs do, the LLMs citing and recommending your product. Okay, so up here, what products are the safest for removing tea stains from rugs? It's got all the answers there that you need and other images. And all this information is searchable and found by Google, by Bing, and particularly LLMs because it's conversational and it's factual and it's done in a format that answers and addresses human questions. So the site itself has got a massive amount of information on it. Let's go, we can see here the pages. So for every category that is on the site, there is a full web page. So these are all the categories. So we can jump in and out of any category we like here and we can find out information. Pattern trends in rugs. If we want to find the latest, how do pattern trends in rugs compare with color trends? Okay, so there's the question that someone asked, or again, that we can seed the questions. We can do deep research and we can find out what questions people are asking. This goes with any product. Even if you know your own product, you don't know all the questions people are going to ask. So we use AI again to do a full research project for us on what people want to know about rugs, gathering all the latest information and questions. And we can see here, this is all outputted very simply, very easy to see, totally searchable by LLMs for citations, and also now with Google and with Bing and everything else, right? So this is basically the site. The site has about 100 output pages, all on the main topics that were researched by AI to find what people actually ask. Now, obviously this company are based in Australia, so the questions have also been slanted towards Australia, imported versus Australian rugs, there we can see. So affordable rugs in Australia, Australian wool rugs. So we've basically got this Australian centric, and again, that's the way it was designed. So what we can do now is let's go back to the home page here. And on the home page, this does multiple things. Now, straight away, the AI has helped me to transform the images into images that actually mean something to people. And this now can view both on a phone and on a main screen. So if you have a sales team and you want to take the sales team out, or there's a designer, an interior designer, they have now got the entire rug catalog in their pocket on the phone. They can take it out to customers and show them the images of the rugs, not images like this. They are very hard to conceptualize what's going on. And we'll talk about context and conceptualization and the importance of that as well shortly. But going back to, here we are with Kate, we can see that this feature alone is very handy. It is going to be a far better way to show people what the rugs actually look like in situ. Rugs, the runners, everything there, all done using the help of AI to change a boring presentation into something far more dynamic. So that's just one feature. Now, of course, we have got our questions here. So we can ask any question. Can you tell me some general information about woolen rugs? Okay, I could type that question in, or I could ask that question. Now, unlike when you go to ChatGPT or you go to Claude or you go to any of the other Perplexity models, the answers do tend to come back faster than this. Now, the reason that the questions take just a little bit longer is because there are 3 stages of AI that wants to make sure that the answer is correct with no hallucinations. That is why. Now, this is a private site, so people are more than happy just to wait a moment to get it. It will gather the latest information, the most accurate information, and there's multiple levels, which I'll show you the control structure. So it rates this one number 1, number 2, and number 3, for example. So it's come back now with its answer. Woolen rugs, premium choice for Australia. Now you can see it's typing the answer quickly to the screen. But what we also do with this, because people will, value the information, it's not like they're asking some quick question. They want to be able to relate. They're obviously in the market for a woolen rug. And we can see the output there from the AI assistant is all formatted and fantastic. Now, the other great feature with this is, if you're out and you want to see what questions people are asking and what's trending, I can now refresh that page. Now, the question, if I mistyped, if I made a spelling mistake, if I did anything like that, then what would happen is the AI would correct that. The question that's asked, you will get an email. So when the question's asked, that email will contain all the information of what actually is in that request, that transcript. So we can see here now, the latest question has been moved to the front. So that was the previous question. Here's the latest question. We can click on that, and that will take us straight into, can you tell me some general information about woolen rugs? That becomes the important H1 tag for the search engines and for the LLMs. This is the H2 tag. That's a bit technical, but basically what it means is it can be indexed very easily. The structure is built to suit LLMs because it's conversational. And we can see here the output pages. So this gives a lot of great information. Now, these questions, again, let's say you didn't like the answer to that question. So let's have a look. Woolen rugs, premium choice, durability. Wool rugs are exceptionally durable and can last for many years, right? You have the ability to control the entire site. Now, just before I jump into that, this is the main site that is used basically as the site that everybody can use about rugs. So anyone who's in the market for rugs anywhere in the world can use this site. They can ask in any language and it will give them good information. So therefore, it's a valuable resource for people that want to find out about rugs. And what will happen is the authority and the questions and the answers will build over time because it will be found as a good knowledge source and something that can be cited. Now, you are sponsoring the site, for example. Deportier has sponsored the site. So this will, of course, take you straight to your site when you click on the link, but more importantly, through the conversation, the questions weave through your business and they weave into your business. Now, this is only part 1. What we do now is we have another AI assistant, which we call Lucy. Now, Lucy is the AI assistant that is actually for Deportier rugs, and it will be placed on this site. I suggest it goes in the center of the site. That's the first thing people do because they can ask it questions straight away. No more click, 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 click. How do I find this? And also with this site, because it's already got a pop-up chatbot, which really does give no information. So basically you replace the chatbot with this one with Lucy in the chat window. And with this one, you would have a full version of Lucy as the main page where you land. So that's what I would suggest you do with Lucy. But Lucy is a completely separate model, totally trained on different data. If you ask a general question to Kate about rugs, she will give you a general answer and recommend Deportier rugs if the answer warrants a recommendation, right? But Lucy is trained on your data. So let's say, for example, we ask Lucy a question here. I will say, I am interested in your range of rugs and want to know some pricing. Now, you can either speak that question or you can obviously type it in. So what Lucy does, Lucy is sitting on the site. She is a fully run AI assistant with her own knowledge file, her own code, everything is there, totally separate from the Kate site. Yet we interact the two because we want these questions published so people can see the answers. So this question will also be published to the main Decorator Rug site. So again, it's now searching the knowledge and it's getting a correct answer. It is very carefully using AI to check the answer before it outputs the answer. So it's correcting any spelling mistakes. It's actually answering the question. So we've got rug pricing here. All right, and we've got a specific, so it's given us a range. Okay, so let's ask, what are the name of the ranges, and can you give me links to their purchase? So basically now it's given me a rough idea of pricing. I've just said, look, you know, what are the price ranges? So 100 to 200. So these are the brackets, the range of the groups of the pricing. And we can ask more specific questions. And I will cover how powerful this can be once we add some more knowledge to give the AI assistant context. This is the important part, the context side. The AI uses a technology that as long as it has context, so for example, if I say the word duck, and just in isolation, duck. Duck can mean anything. Duck can mean duck, duck can mean quack, quack. But when I give it context, if I say duck, quack, well, the AI will assume it's a duck that goes quack. If I say duck, there's a ball coming, or there's a golf ball about to hit you in the head, duck. Now, you know what duck is. What's that door frame? Duck, right? It's all about context. So now we can see we've drilled down a little bit further and we've asked a question. So now we actually have a set of links that we can link directly from the agent that goes straight to the site that actually has your rugs. So it basically becomes a searchable database. Now, this is the interesting part. If we go across to where we log in, this will be your login page. So this is where you can manage all your sites. So we'll jump straight into that transcript editor where the information of all the sites is held. I'll put myself up here out of the way. So we can see here straight away that question has come through. You'll receive an email marked whether the questions come from Lucy or whether the questions come from Kate. So if it's come from this case in Lucy, it's been written here. Now, we can actually see what that page is. It's in Designer Rugs Australia. And the previous question was in Popular Rugs in Australia. So if we go back to the site and we quickly want to know what the output page looks like, what we basically do is click on this and we can then clarify. Now, in the email, it will tell you what category it's been placed into, or of course you can toggle back into here. So Designer Rugs Australia is what we're looking for. If we go, and this is in alphabetical order as well to make it easy, we click on the Designer Rugs Australia link. That's one way we can do it. The other way is we just go to the latest question. And we can see there that it's given us the links, okay? Now, the reason it hasn't given images is I didn't ask for images, and we haven't trained it yet on the context of your images. And this is the important part. What I need to stress is the AI is excellent, but it needs context, like I just said in the word duck, okay? And I'll show you what I mean by that now. So we can see that where it's actually put the rugs, Designer Rugs in Australia, Popular Rugs in Australia, that was the previous question. Again, that will actually show the answer here, and it will just show the range of what we're doing, right? Now, there are images, because if we go into Lucy, and I might say, start a new chat, and I'll say, can you show me an image of a red rug with the price and a link to where I can buy it? Now, bearing in mind, this saves people going through your site. but there is some work as a site owner that you need to do, because I don't know the name of your rugs, what they're made from, what their sizes are, what their style is in industry terms. For example, traditional, Persian, Moroccan, wool, nylon, synthetic, whatever the description is. It's very important we give the LLM context, and I'll show you why in a minute. And I've set this up within our solution to make it very simple to do, because that's the one thing that as a business I can't really do, because I don't know the products. So we can see here in the chat window, you will also get the images of the rug. So there it is, the C10, the price from $440 to $880. Again, if we had sizes, that could go in there as well. So if we go buy here, that will take us straight to that link, okay? The AI is engaging in conversation. And the amount of information that we give the AI, the better the conversation will be. Now we can jump back over here, go back into the transcript editor. I'll hit refresh here. We should see there's another question. So you've got 578 questions now. And we can see that this is the output page. Now, let's say, for example, you have changed the price, or you've sold that rug, or whatever the case may be. You can go here and very quickly change that, all right? Can you show me an image of a red rug with a price tag, right? So that's fairly straightforward. Let's imagine I'm just going to change that to $775, just so you can see how it is. You can edit this very easily, and then you just save the changes. Now, if you think that this rug shouldn't go in this category, right, and there's another category, you can just choose whatever category you want to put it into and click save, and it will put it back into that category. In this case, we'll just leave it where it is, popular rugs in Australia. We'll click save changes, and there it is. We've changed it, popular rugs in Australia. That will be the new output page. If we then go back into Cite, which is the main site that is attracting all the interest, to lead back to your site, all roads lead to the site sponsor, which in your case is you, to put your rugs. So then what we do is we basically can go to the home page, and on that home page, and you can see all the pages here have images which are all totally SEO, alt tagged, everything else suitable for LLMs, number one, that's what we're aiming for, and the traditional Google, which is sort of, petering out now with the way it's doing things, and Bing and so forth. So we can see here now, popular rugs in Australia is there. Can you show me the rugs? It's always number one. So that's a good way to keep the images rotating, keeps the interest in the site. So the site's very, very robust. Now, going back to what you control as the site owner. Now, the very first thing is there's a file here called knowledge files. Now, this knowledge file, well, we need to log in. I've got double login, so it's super safe. All right, so this knowledge file is basically what your LLM, its first command. This information here is what you can change very simply. You can just type in. If you say, I do not want you to show any red rugs ever, do not show images of red rugs, right? It won't show it. If you say, if asked about living room rugs, we have this one on special for $7.99, reduced from $2,025. You just literally type that in. You save the file. Now you can see up here, this file is called Kate Decorator Rugs main prompt. You can copy and paste this into a document. This is the way I suggest you do it, right? You open up the page. You hit refresh on the browser, because just in case the browser hasn't refreshed. You select all, which you can do either with the mouse, or the shortcut key is Control A for select all, Control C. Then open up a notepad file, like just a straightforward notepad file, and dump that information in there. And just paste it in, which is Control V. Now, that's step one. You can now literally just type here anywhere, right? Retrieval rules. This is all the information that I've given the model, and this is where it is the primary source of information. So you could type here, if asked about blah, blah rug, answer this way. You could say, if asked if the world is flat, say yes, because Elon Musk told me it was from his satellites, whatever way you want to do it. This is where you can change it. Any changes you do here, you can just save the file as another name, right? So I'm just going to call this save as, we'll just call it in downloads, where are we? We'll go into here. We'll just call it test one, all right? Test prompt one. Test prompt one, right? Doesn't matter what you save it, but we'll save that there. Now, going back to where you've got control, right? So we'll go up here. Going back to where you've got control, Just get back into here, up into the knowledge file here. Okay, we can see that's the file. You can go back to the dashboard and then you can go to upload new file. Now, you choose the file that you just created, and in this case we called it test. So we'll just go to downloads and we will go into test prompt. So there it is, you've chosen the file. You can see there it says test prompt, then you just click upload. It'll say file uploaded successfully. You go back to dashboard and you can check your files by going to here and you can see that we've got test prompt. Now, we are going to remove that now, but that is how simple it is. You don't have to change this main file at all. You can just sit down and type in plain text what you want it to say. And we'll show you in a minute how important that basically is. So I'll only be a second and then we will continue on with how we use the images now. So we'll go back to the dashboard here, then we'll go to remove file. I want to get rid of that one. That's your folder, DK Rugs. There's the test prompt, remove. Okay, and so then if we go back to the dashboard, back to the knowledge files, we can see that's now gone. So that's the first part. The transcript editor and the image editor I will show right now. Okay, so just continuing on here. So this is your main login. So we've seen the knowledge files. Now the knowledge file is the first information that the AI assistant receives. There's a login separately for Lucy and a login separately for Kate because they have totally different backends, totally different knowledge files, and you can control either one. They're all set up. You don't need to do anything, but if you want to add, remove, any time of the day or night, whenever you want to do it, from your phone, when you're having a coffee or whatever, you can log in and do it that way. So those three buttons at the front are fairly straightforward. If you wanted to log out and log into Lucy, you could do that as well, or vice versa. So the image editor, now this is a really important part, but we'll go back to transcript editor for a moment, right? So in the transcript editor, we can see here where we can control everything. Now the last 10 questions are put in order. Let's toss myself over here. So whenever a question's asked, it shows up here. Now, because anyone can ask any question, and this is being published to the internet, we need to have safeguards, and those safeguards are multiple AI agents that have been set to filter out any garbage or nonsense. Now, if someone comes in and starts swearing or uses hate or whatever, that's all guardrailed, right? So it won't get presented out. If someone puts in their phone number or anything like that, it'll be redacted, okay? Because some people might say, hey, ring me on this number. So that won't print out to the outside. Anything that is handled by the AI will not produce to the outside thing. Now, you may still get some things that you don't like. That's up to you personally. You will receive an email and you might think, well, I don't really like that answer or whatever. I don't like the way that was phrased. Maybe that was negative, and maybe it was derogatory to somebody else. That the AI, if it puts "I hate Fred," it's probably going to pick it up. But if it starts to use other words and tries to put messages out, you can control it very easily by just editing. Like I said, you just edit the last text, go into this section, whatever you change. You can wipe the whole thing out. You can delete it if you want, right? So if you don't like it, just hit delete. Bang, it's gone. It doesn't exist. If you want to have a look at the questions and answers, you just click on the category and that will then display all the questions in that category. So rug storage tips, for example, right? So there we've got all the information. If you want to edit the information, it's up to you. Now that you have full control over. If you want to see all the questions and just get back to the main page, that's all the questions. And you can see the number of questions that are in each category. All right, so that page is quite good. Now, when we go back and we click on the image editor, now this is really important, okay? What this does is, in a nutshell, I don't know what that rug is. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what your stock number is. I don't know whether it's I can guess it's a modern geometric design. I can guess that's a semi-traditional design. I can guess that's a plain design. I can guess that's a traditional design. But they mean things to you. As the site owner, you know what these are. Now, these images are very, very different to your traditional old images like that, right? But there's two ways to do this. The first one is, I've designed this very simply. If you go up here, remember when we went in and I said, is the world flat? You can give prompts directly to the AI through this, right? So the large language model, I've got some different topics here, right? So what I would suggest is, when discussing, and we can put the topic there, living room rugs or whatever the case may be, use this image for bathroom rugs, whatever the cat happens to be. So related to is probably the easiest one to use. Related to, right? We just might put here related to red rugs or related to whatever. Now watch what happens. We're just going to put related to living room rugs, right? So living room rugs, we can see that there, right? And what do we want to apply that to? Now, see how this, when we open up the images here, right? So we want to load the image so we can see the image, right? This is not downloading the image. This is fetching the image so you can actually see what the image looks like. So if I click on load image here, right, the image will load and you can describe what that rug is. Now, as a head start, for example, the name of the rug has been put in, right? But we can add very quickly, instead of having to add that prompt, you can very easily go up here and decide which prompt you want to go in for the large language model. So you can clear it, you can clear from saved or clear from progress, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. But let's go apply to progress. All these rugs are in progress of being updated, all right? So, oh, wait there. Well, look, how about I show this? This is probably better. We want to choose the rugs that we want to upload, all right? We find the file here into Portier that we want to upload, and we're going to put the original website rugs. So we'll do it a different angle, right? We'll add the images to the rugs that you've already got on your site. That's probably a better example. All right, so this is all the images from your site, and you can see how it's dragged the image names in. Now, a lot of those images you may not want to obviously comment on, right? So if you're not interested in that describing that image because it doesn't mean anything, you can delete it. Same with that image there, you can delete it, right? And you might have here a group of rugs, right? So you could just simply type a group of rugs, right? A group of, well, that helps if I put the cursor in the right spot. Oh, let's search for it now. Wait there, let's go back here. Oh, we'll try this one here, right? So we get rid of that. We just type in red rug, whatever the information is you want to say, the size, what it's made of and whatever, and then you basically just click save, right? Now, when you save it, that will save it down to these two that we've named, right? If you want to delete it, you can delete it. So basically, I'm going to upload the new files as well, right? So I'm going to choose the file. So this will be the new images, right? The large rug images. Click add and upload. And we'll see down here now, we've got all these pages. So let's say we jump to page 8, right? And we go load now, load now, load now, right? These are the newly created images. So whatever ones we have in the progress, so these are all in progress, right? See, clear in progress. We can add the prefix related to living room rugs, apply to in progress. And you'll see straight away, it's already put that in for you. Related to living room rugs, Deportier, rugs, lifestyle, whatever, right? You can delete all that. We want to keep related to living room rugs. Deportier rug, say you call it C116, and let's say the range is range name, whatever you want to call it, range name, so, you know, wool, traditional, what will we call it? I don't know, 240 by 180 centimeters. That'll do, right? Just click save. You can go through and just each image, you just rename that image, okay? So you then start to build it up. Then we get to where it says export. Move it up here so we can get this out of the way. Export. No, it's always the buttons in a very bad spot. Let me sneak it in here where I can see it. Okay, here we go. We'll click on that. Okay, we can see here where if we didn't rename the image, we have no context whatsoever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that doesn't mean anything, right? But this one does. That's the link to your old image on the site. And you've now described it as red rug. That's not really, you know, what we want. What we want is a description like related to living room rugs. That if someone asks a question about living room rugs, it straight away tells the AI, hey, this is related to living room rugs. This image is related to living room rugs. They're Deportier rugs, C116, range name, whatever you want to call it, XYZ. It's wool, it's synthetic, it's traditional, it's 240 by 180, it's, you know, whatever the case. Whatever relates to that image that means something to you will show basically in the output, right? So when we go back to images, where were we? Okay, oh, we get out of there. Go back there, sorry, we'll go back there. Now, you can download the images as well, but basically what this setup is for is to be able to name the images because they mean something to you. Now that's important because on your site, you already have all these images. So you want these images to relate. Now, if you decide that you no longer want to call it that, right, you can just clear it from the saved images or the images in progress, right? So watch this. If I clear this from images in progress, then now we haven't got the pretext of related to. So this gives you a lot of power in the description, and the description is what gives you context. So what this tool does from within your administration side is it enables you to edit the image videos very simply. So that is your image editor. If you have images you don't want to use, for example, you just go delete and it won't be added. At the end, when you've done what you want to do, you can download as a text file and you basically can upload it yourself, or you can send it to me and I can process it. Now, the reason I say you can send it to me is there is something that you can't change, and that is the vector database. That is the main database. Now, I'll show you what that looks like. This is where we really get down to the nitty-gritty. So you can see in your general knowledge base, it's just you type it in plain text. If the world is flat, say yes. Whatever you say in here, that's priority number 1. Priority number 2 is the vector database. Now, if we look at the way the vector database is structured, we'll go into here. Where are we? Vector database disappeared. Did I close it down? Okay, let me go and find the vector database and we shall open it up. So the vector database will be, here we go, vector pricing. This is what the vector database looks like. Now, this is when you ask Lucy a question, because it's on your website, it becomes basically the ability to search your site based on the information. So we can see on this top one here, the title is the name of the rug, right? The category is rugs. The collection might be whatever the rug collection happens to be. And the image URL, right? Once the image URL or the sizes are put into these fields, when someone asks for a red rug or a rug between 400 and 200 or whatever the searchability is, this information is available to the AI assistant. So like the example I gave, duck, right? Duck means nothing, right? Vintage sunbird means nothing. But when you start to put in where it fits, where the image is, this is the link directly to your product. I've tied all the links to your products. So it knows where to get the rug, but it needs some extra information. I don't know the sizes of the rugs. I don't know what the rugs are constructed of, and I don't know what you want to call them. But if you name them in that image file, we can then use that information in the main data file here, or we could even put it in the first one, which is basically the prompt here. We can put it in there as well, but I will put it into the vector, right? Now, if all of a sudden something changes, you can't get in touch with me to do anything, you just go straight to the main knowledge file where you can just override and put everything in. Say, do not answer questions this way, answer questions that way. That is all done from this main knowledge file. So the way it basically works is the AI assistants, in this case, Kate and Lily, have two completely separate AI assistants. Where they cross over is the answers and questions which we want published to be found by Google, Bing, all the search engines, all the LLMs, OpenAI, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini. They will all be hunting for authority and for citations. And as this builds up over time, you will find that it will be very useful for referring people back to your product. So that is the whole aim. You now have modern images are going to make things a lot easier to sell. You have a pocket calculator that can go on your phone. You can switch between views. So the decorators can take it out and show them what the product is. You've got your AI assistant that answers general question has been trained on general questions. You've got your AI assistant on your site that's been trained on more specific questions that you've given the context to. So the entire system can be controlled by you, but it's all set up, ready to go, basically. So this is the future of the way people will get information. They will ask their AI assistant. When their AI assistant starts to search and the knowledge, the information is presented in the format, they will prefer sites that have AI assistants. So you are really ahead of the curve. Anyone that's looking at this is in a very good position, and companies that do not understand this will fall behind rapidly. So your competition need to understand what's going on if they're going to catch you, all right? So I'll end the presentation there. Hopefully that sort of makes sense of what the product does and where it sits. So you basically have your existing website. We build an entire site that's dominated on your key product. That key product then collects all the information, question and answers and everything else from general, anywhere in the world, doesn't make any difference. All roads lead to Rome, to you. Your site, you've then got your AI agent that's answering information about your product, your stock codes and everything else. That is important information because LLMs want to know who is going to purchase. They're about to purchase. What are the pricing? That goes to the output of the website. It's accurate information. It's found by the LLMs. It goes, oh, great. This product must be great. It's got pricing. It's got information. It's got everything. Let's recommend to Portier rugs. Coming from them. It is the LLM recommending your product. That is very different from you going to a static website and going click, 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 click. Okay. Hopefully you enjoyed the presentation. Thanks very much, and thanks.